This is my first vlog post. I'm just trying this to see how this turns out, if I'm any good at it, and if I'm good at it, I'm just gonna keep speaking. I'm doing this because I want to speak about my own experiences in the world, and I want to see if anybody can relate to what I've thought about and found so far. So I'm in Ho Chi Minh City, which is the not capital but biggest city of Vietnam. It's thundering a bit, so I'm thinking of getting inside. By the way, I mean, I said thunder, but it's lightning. I don't hear any thunder yet, but I've seen the light bright with a few light places. In the past few months, I had a few thoughts about electricity and how interesting that whole thing is. That electricity seems to be fundamental to our existence. It seems like we're made of electricity, and also human society seems to involve a lot of electricity and a lot of like electrical symbols, like the SS or ZZ, which represents two thunderbolts or two lightning bolts. Really, I should stop confusing thunder and lightning. Have been used by a lot of people and organizations, some of them good, some of them not so good. I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about when I say two S symbols next to each other. But it seems like we are energy. Basically, it's saying we are energy. And you've even got like the criminal justice system charging people with offenses and putting them in a cell. Charge cell, like battery cell. Anyway, this is what I was thinking about. I'm being here in Ho Chi Minh City, and I was thinking, I'm 26 years old. I know I'm pretty weird when I start getting off all these tangents, and I look around a lot because I just want to be careful. I don't want all my shit to get stolen. So Ho Chi Minh City, I was mainly thinking about this. I'm a seeker of truth, I think, primarily. I think everybody wants truth. I think that God is truth, and that when we're seeking truth and love, we're actually seeking God, and that truth and love are the same thing. I think that everything is love, and that everything I'm seeking in life, I'm actually seeking God. But I get deceived into seeking God in places where God is not, and places like bars, and seeking women, and to be liked and have good experiences with women, including sex and intimacy, thinking that I'm finding God instead of maybe what's a shadow of God, like metaphorically speaking. Maybe sex is a shadow of God, but it isn't actually God. And same with money, but money is more like, money can buy you the things that are shadows of God. So money gets you more sex, but sex isn't really God. It is just more, contains that essence of God, which is what we truly enjoy when we have sex. And when you have bad sex, it means that the essence of God, that is that love, that truth, that total acceptance, that total gloriousness that God is, however you describe it, it's not there. That's way when you don't enjoy sex. And then like food and alcohol, I would say the same thing. Like, you have a really good bowl of food, it's really delicious. I think you're experiencing the essence of God in that food, and that's why you really find it enjoyable. But I thought, like, when traveling, I thought that it would possibly make me a lot happier, maybe change me. Not really. I think it's made me a bit more confident, especially in the first day, but I'm afraid that that's probably going to go away. I'm going to lose that sort of newfound confidence, especially as I interact with a few women, and I find that I get called handsome a bit, but I don't get that positive interactions. I don't get like harems or any of that shit that hear people on the internet speak about. I go to Vietnam, and then I get hundreds of girls messaging me on dating apps and just constant female attention. No, nothing like that. And I'm also thinking that probably anywhere in the world I go, I wouldn't get that kind of attention, and probably most men wouldn't get that kind of attention either, even in a place like this, unless they're either ridiculously attractive, but even that I have my doubts about. Mainly, I just think if someone's receiving a lot of attention from others, then the other people probably trying to sell them something. Probably. When guys are receiving a lot of attention from women, then women are probably, escorts. And that's been my experience so far, that I've interacted with a few women, I'd say online. At least 80% of them have been escorts, and I've been trying to get them to pay for something. A small amount haven't, and I'm trying to make something work with them, but it's taking time. I don't know if anything will come up. Either way, I was walking on Walking Street last night, which is called Bui Vian, and I felt sort of the Spirit of God say to me that this isn't really where God is, this is the world. And I was with two people, a Canadian guy and a British girl, and I started to get this sense, like almost like I was being walked down the street by angels, and they're showing me the world. And they were like, look, Will, this is the world before you. This, what you see, this is all the alcohol and the food and the bright lights and the loud, exciting music and all these women and blah, blah, blah. This is the world. This is where all that money leads to. All that money can buy. I mean, money can buy you ways of getting more money, assets and investments. But at some point, that's just ambition. Ambition is, how much money can I be making? But at some point, you want to spend that money, right? Isn't that the end goal of having money, to spend it? And this is what it ends up. Money spends you things that are sort of shadows or likenesses of God, but aren't the real thing. People, including me, think they're finding truth and love and glory and honor in buying things which they think will make them happy. Not just things to own, but also things to experience. But they and I, what I've found is these things are ultimately unsatisfying. Which leads me to think about God. No, I'm not a Christian. I tried to be a few years ago, but I find that it wasn't really working out, or what I was doing wasn't really working out. And I think the reason might be was, I guess I still had the world in my heart. And now I'm in the world, and I see the heart of the world. And I don't like it. I want more. I want more. Does that make me ambitious? I think accountant, trader, writer, some of these things, I think there's I guess there's something good to it. I like accounting. I like trading even more. And I like writing even less. I mean, I like writing, but I'm shit at it. But writing seems to be the one which offers me the most meaning. Trading is something that I enjoy, but it probably has the least meaning unless I can speak about it, because it's doing the least for the world, and I just enjoy it for myself. Accounting does something good for the world, but it doesn't last. It's just a service. It's essential and it's good, but it's also kind of boring. It's just, you see this building behind me? It's like a physical structure, and accounting is like that, but instead of physical, it's financial. It's the structure of money. It would be the transactional records of whatever company owns that building that is behind me. So these are the sorts of things that I talk about. This is up to 10 minutes, so I might pause this here and maybe continue later on. Goodbye. Oh, so the last thing I'm learning about my travels is I think that I ultimately want God. I want to know God, and I'm looking for Him in the wrong places. I'm not finding Him. Also, there's blue light on the half of my face. That's really stunning. Okay. I'm out here in a park, and it's about 9 p.m. Alright. I was thinking about things like the meaning of life, or what we're here for, and it seems like a lot of people live in this cycle of a life that's building up to get married and have children, which is the climax. And then working off from that, growing up those children and basically just dying. So having kids and dying. I was actually thinking, lions will live this life that they grow up as cubs, as part of a tribe which has an alpha lion and a lot of female lions, and then these cubs. And when these cubs grow older, then the male lions kick the cubs out of the tribe, and then they have to tend for themselves. Now, that's a big ass building behind me. So what will happen usually is that these young male lions that are being kicked out of their tribe, and by the way, the girls stay as part of their father's tribe, the males will form basically hunting groups with other male lions, in which they will collect food collectively, because it's much easier for, say, 3 or 4 male lions to overpower a water buffalo than just 1 or 2. So you'll have these male lions parading around and collecting their food. Gradually, as they get older, these male lions will get big and strong enough to... I forgot exactly what they do. I thought it's like they try and... I think they invade the tribe of another male lion, they overpower that male lion, and then they get the female lions as a sort of reward. So then they have their own tribe, and their food is basically given to them. So that's how it is. They grow up as cubs, and then they're young male in a small group. Then they overpower an old male lion, emphasis that he's getting old, and then they get their own tribe. And then they mate, they have children, and they die. And I was thinking that this actually has this interesting parallel with human life and with the behavior of young guys. So I think that young guys will grow up in their family until they're like late teens, early 20s, and then because we're civilized, the father isn't like kicking them out, but it just happens anyway. It's very organic. The father, the sons sort of take themselves out of the father's tribe, and then generally those young guys will form small groups of other guys, and occasionally there's a girl in them, but generally it's usually all guys groups, and they will go around and sometimes have hookups, one-night stands, a few short-term girlfriends, nothing really. But then eventually, as they get strong enough, they get enough resources and stuff, they're then able to get married, and then they form their own family or their own tribe, and then they have kids, and then life goes on. So they grow up in their father's tribe, they get rejected from that, or they reject themselves from that, and then they form their own tribe, and then they stay in that until they die. Now you might be wondering, well, does that happen to all lions? Because it doesn't happen to all humans. So the answer is no. There are some lions which never make it, and in actual fact, a higher proportion of lions don't make it than humans, which is easier for humans. But I would say, if natural selection took its course, then nowhere near as many humans would make it than lions, and way more humans would be left out in the cold and starving and would die. And so this is exactly what happens with lions, who they never get strong enough, and they're never able to overpower a stronger lion. They never get their own tribe. And what happens is the other male lions who are hunting alongside them, often that group, or each of them, will get their own tribe. But the male lions which don't, they get, I don't know, they get disgraced, they get dishamed, they go out into the wilderness, they get too old to form groups with other young male lions, so then they try and fend for themselves for a few years. And things get worse and worse, because you see, a single male lion cannot take down a water buffalo by himself. He simply cannot. Water buffaloes are huge, and they're fucking strong. So instead, they will hunt for smaller prey, maybe Maybe zebras, I'm not sure. No, because zebras are part of a herd. A lion wouldn't have enough power to take down a zebra that's part of a herd. So maybe, I don't know, birds and shit. Small, lonely dogs. Either way, inconsistent food for a while. But then, you know, won't be able to do this forever. He just gets hungrier and hungrier and colder, and eventually they just lay down in the wilderness and die, or a pack of wild dogs comes upon them. You know, 3 strong lions can take off a group of wild dogs, but a single male lion would get overpowered by wild dogs, so he would just die. So the same thing, there's kind of this allegory to humans. Guys, they sort of make an effort to get their own family. They amass resources, they amass the strength. Obviously lions don't have money, so they use other means of trying to show how powerful they are, like building their body. Humans, male humans, alongside getting the money, will also build up their body, which is more like the natural impulse. But humans, you know, we have money. Oh yeah, and then there's also like how normal you are, which seems to be a really human emphasis. Sometimes it's humans aren't able to do it, and humans have a time frame which they need to accomplish this stuff. Say they're unable to accomplish it at 30, 35, 40. You know, maybe it just gets too old, and a lot of these old guys, they don't get ripped apart by wild dogs or anything like that. What I'm thinking is they don't have a sense of purpose. Like, you know, 40-year-old single guys who don't have a partner, struggle to get a partner, they don't have a purpose. They don't know why they're living, and eventually they get infertile. Like, they have a timer run as well. So they get infertile, they never have kids, and, you know, we can only cope and say, oh, life's real purpose is to know and to love God. I know I was speaking about God earlier, but come on, you just look at the human race. People do what they do to marry and reproduce, and then die. That's literally what this whole, whatever you want to call it, is. That's the cycle of life. Marry, reproduce, die, and I think it's hardwired into us to know that that is our purpose. And if you don't do that, then what the fuck are you gonna do? So then, old guys go to a country like this even, and then they realize that they're fucked. They didn't accomplish this shit in the time frame that was given them, and they're fucked. And then they go throw themselves off a building. That's why there's so many cases of old guys throwing themselves off balconies, like the one you see behind me, like, for fuck's sake. So I think this stuff is real. And so this lion, how lions live, is this incredible parallel between how lions choose to live their lives, what lions do, and how humans do. We have like civilization's rules, balances to keep us in check. We don't have guys who are amassing a huge amount of wives, and in most cultures that's outright been made illegal. But we have that sort of the same nature as lions, which says that, you know, the strong guys with the most resources will get all, and then the weak guys will perish. And that's what we're seeing here. And then for humans, you also have, I don't know, the sort of cultural, behavioural thing that guys who don't fit in can have money and resources, but, or maybe it's just social status, maybe the whole personality thing. It's really just how it affects how the guys view you, and if mentally and here you're weak. Humans' brain is very complex, very built up. So if somebody is acting weird mentally, if they seem off, then I think it's sort of, you're saying, you know, you might be fine in your body, but in your mind something's off. In your mind you're weak, and if you're weak, natural selection takes its course and you're screwed. So that's the thought I've been thinking of tonight. Pretty dark, but I know it has to be thought about. I'm so fucking hungry, and I'm like still at least half an hour away from District 2 where I need to get. I have no money, which means that I can't take a fucking taxi home, so I have to solve something up. I don't know what to do. Maybe I ask somebody for food, but I doubt anybody's gonna have any food. Nobody's gonna give me money because, well, I don't want to sound like a fucking scammer. So I'm just gonna have to, I'll rest a bit more and then I'll have to plod on and fucking cross the bridge. Alright, abosh. Quick update. I've been walking to District 2. I'm getting close to it now. I'm so fucking tired. I'm outside of Circle K, which is like just a basic grocery mart. And I just chugged a bottle of water. I'm so exhausted out here. I'm thinking of getting a Vena cab or keep walking, and I have no internet. The 4G package that I bought from Felix is pretty useless. Feeling pretty... I think when men are single they do stupid things. That's what I think. So that was that. About